You know, as you get older, you discover kind of more different sides of yourself. You know, because when I was your age, Logan, I only thought about being the greatest bodybuilder. I want to have the biggest arms, the biggest tricep, the biggest delts, have the best posing routine, beat everybody and go from competition to competition, be the winner and become the greatest bodybuilder of all times. But then you get older a little bit and you go to the next phase and you say, well, I cannot do that forever. What's next? So then you say, well, you know, acting. My heroes, Reg Park and Steve Reeves, those guys that played Hercules, they went from bodybuilding into acting. So I said, maybe that's what I should do. So I started that. And I was, of course, as intense about that as I was with bodybuilding. And I started, you know, working on it on my speech classes and accent removal classes, acting classes, English classes, and all those kind of things. And I started working my way up until I got finally Conan the Barbarian and Commando and Predator and all this, and I was on a roll. And then, you know, you get the place where all of a sudden you have done so many movies where you say, you know, I'm not really that excited anymore to do another movie. Maybe I should do something else. And just at that time, they had a recall election in California to recall Governor Davis.
A total recall.
And so I said to myself, well, here's a good opportunity. I run for 2 months. It's not like a whole year or 2 years of running. I ran for 2 months and then it's the election on October 7th. And so then I jumped into doing that. And I really enjoyed the political life after I won and really had a great time. But then you get older after that. When you're finished with that, then you start your institute and you start the Schwarzenegger Institute and you start getting more and more into helping other people. Because, you know, when you're young, it was all about me, me. Then eventually as you get older, it becomes more and more like not just me, but we. How can we all be successful? How can we all be healthy? How can we all train? How can I inspire other people to train? How can I write more books about training? How can I have more seminars? How can I be out there more and inspire millions of kids to train and to get maybe into politics and to get into acting and to let them know that they can be successful? You know, and what I'm saying is there's another side of me now that I discover, which is really caring to help other people. The key thing is I think that you have this in you, that desire to grow, or you don't. Because that's where it all begins. You know, we can talk about the details from here to eternity. And I think that's why I'm also sitting here today and doing this podcast. Because I admire you guys.
Thank you.
No, I really do. Because I always say to the guys, everyone, I said, this is so great. These are ordinary guys from Ohio that go and says, we want to be special. We don't want to just be ordinary guys. And we are willing to put the effort into it. We are willing to make the sacrifices. We're willing to fight for it and to go and work for it and train for it and do all of this kind of stuff. And which takes hours and hours and hours every day and discipline and all this stuff. And you guys don't just talk about it, you do it. And so it's so refreshing to have guys like this come on the scene, especially today with the social media and with the way things work, to do things in a different way than everyone else.
And it's nuts, man.
But you see, this is the important thing. To inspire people and to let them know anything is possible. And I'm talking about not just people in Hollywood, but I want to reach to that little village in Poland, that little village in Ukraine, in Russia, in China, in Africa, in the Middle East, where the poorest of the poorest people is. If they can watch this and they see ordinary folks can make it, you know, I want to inspire those people there and say, you can do it. Just have a vision and have the will and just chase your vision. That is the most important thing. You can do it. Look at me. I come from a little Austrian village. There was a population of 800. Where everyone said to me all the time, forget it. You will never make it. But then I saw Reg Park in the movies. And then all of a sudden I got inspired. You know, so I had a way of looking at the world through the movies, and I got inspired. And this is what we're doing here today. It's inspiring people. Come out and watch it. Look at Logan. Look at his brother. Look at so many people. Look at Muhammad Ali. Look at Mike Tyson. These are people that came from nothing and they worked their way up and they became something, you know. it can be done. So this is what it's all about, is inspiring everybody. I think that we don't operate well if we don't have a mission. If you don't have a specific vision and a specific goal, because then you have something to shoot for. I mean, look, every single airplane that takes off knows where they're going.
Yeah.
Imagine you have the most sophisticated airplane in the world and it takes off and doesn't know where to go, right? It's not going to have a successful mission, no matter what. And so this is why it is so important to have a mission, to have a specific goal, because then every rep that you do, every workout that you do will get you one step closer to that goal. And you know why you're doing it. You never ask yourself at 6 a.m, why the hell am I doing another 500 sit-ups? Why am I getting up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym? You know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I always knew that for every rep I did, every set I did, every squat I did, every bench press I did, every chin-up I did, every leg raise I did, was to get one step closer to becoming the world champion in bodybuilding. And it felt good. And I had a good time doing it. And I was smiling in the gym doing it, rather than like other guys that had this kind of verklempt face, you know. So it's the same as with training. Training is part of my life. It's that simple. Nothing will ever change until I die. I will be working out and I will be having a great time in the gym and I will be getting the pump and I want to feel good, you know. And like I said, it's tough enough as it is with when you get older, but you have to hold on as much as you can. And you have to still watch what you eat and all of those kind of things. It's all good.
No cream puffs.
And you know what's the greatest thing?
Cream puffs.
The greatest thing is not the cream puffs. Well, that is great too. But that we are in America. Think about this for a second, huh? You know, people, we know that there's a disarray, right? I mean, the Democrats and Republicans don't get along, and there's the fighting on Capitol Hill, and, you know, not much is getting done and all of those kind of things. But one should never, ever forget that we are still in the greatest country in the world, right? Because when I go overseas, people are still today, just like 20 years ago and 50 years ago, come up and says, can you help me get to America? Can you help me get to California? I want to get over there. It's the greatest place. There's nowhere else I want to go. They don't ask me to go to China. They don't ask me to go to Australia. They don't ask me to go, can you help us go to the Middle East or to Africa? No, they ask me to come to America. As I said, I remember when I came to this state, it was the same thing, you know. There was the major problems in America. There was in 1968 where the big demonstrations with the Democratic Convention in Chicago, and there was the Vietnam War. Then there was, afterwards there was Watergate, and there was all kinds of problems that we had in America. But I still said, this is the best place in the world. And so no matter how bad we do, it's still the best place. And remember that California, I think that the key thing is that we know you can look at California also in a positive way, and this is that it is the 5th largest economy in the world. So we're not only number 1 economically in America, by having the greatest GDP of $3.3 trillion or whatever. So this is for a state really extraordinary. So yes, we have our problems, but it is a jewel. It's a jewel.